Hi, video number 5 I think this is. Today we're going to make chili con carne, but we're going to make it without meat. So we're going to do a vegetarian chili con carne. Very, very simple recipe. So to start off, because we've got such a wobbly table, I'm not going to do any chopping on the table. I've tried to fix the table, but I cannot fix it. So start off with a little bit of oil in the pan, and then onto that we're going to cook, hopefully this won't be too noisy. We're going to cook the onion and we're going to cook some red pepper. Okay, so we've finely chopped our red pepper and our onion. So we're going to get these cooking, and we need to cook them for about 4 to 5 minutes. Okay, so we're going to soften up our onion and our pepper. So hopefully you're enjoying the other videos and you're doing a bit of cooking for your friends, family, people in supported living. And you're trying out new recipes, or you're just having a bit of fun watching the videos and cooking. And spotting all the errors in my cooking. So we've got our onions in there and our peppers. Okay, we're just going to heat those through. I'll turn it up a little tiny bit. So, okay, now this is quite a simple recipe, and the key thing about the chilli is when you've made it, to leave it to cook and sort of simmer away for a little while. So that's how you get all the flavour coming through. Okay, so we start to heat that through. And we just want to soften up our onions and our peppers. And I've used a white onion. If you haven't got a white onion, you can use a red onion. This pepper isn't hot at all. If you haven't got red pepper, you can use a green pepper or a yellow pepper, it doesn't matter. Okay, so we're just going to keep that in the oil. And I used a little bit of olive oil, but you can use vegetable oil. You only need a little bit in the pan. Just keep moving it around. Okay, so it's good. Okay, now what we're going to do next is we're going to add some spices to this. So hopefully, I know Karen's been dropping some little bags of spices and ingredients around. Yeah. So I will continue to do that and pass on the spices. Now, the spices we're using in this, I've chopped up a chilli. Now, depending on how hot it is, or how hot you want it, you can chop up. The recipe card says 2 chilies. I've just used 1. I've taken out the seeds. This is just a little red chilli. We're also going to use some chilli powder. We're going to use some ground coriander, and we're going to use some ground cumin. Okay, so there are spices for this recipe. Okay, so, and what we're going to do before we add the corn and the tomatoes is we're going to add the spices to our onion and our peppers. Okay, so whilst this is cooking and softening up, what we're going to do, we're going to put our chilli in. So when you're chopping up the chilli, make sure you wash your hands. I did blow my nose after I chopped up that chilli. I managed to get some chilli juice on my nose, which was particularly cheeky. So you get your chilli in there, and then we're going to put a teaspoon, this is half a teaspoon, and I've just broken it, dropping it. We're going to put a teaspoon of coriander. We're going to put a teaspoon of cumin, there's 2 of these half ones, and then some chilli powder. Now, if you like your chillis really hot, you can obviously use a bit more chilli powder. I'm just going to use 1 for each. Okay, then what you're going to do is you're going to then get all that spices mixed in with your onion and your pepper. And it will give off a really lovely aroma. Get all that cooking in there, all lovely. Okay, so this is what it's starting to look like. It's starting to look really lovely. And because we're going to cook it afterwards and we're going to simmer it, it doesn't matter if the onion and the pepper aren't really, really soft, because they're going to soften up later as we start to do more cooking. Okay, and that gives up quite a few cheeky little fumes. Okay, so this is going to fill your house or wherever you live with really lovely smells of cooking. Okay, so keep stirring it, so we don't want it to burn. Okay, so keep stirring it around. Okay, now what we're going to do next is we're going to add some chopped tomatoes. We're going to add tin of chopped tomatoes. Now, this is quite a tomato-y chilli. Okay, so we're going to add some chopped tomatoes, and then we're going to pour in some passata. Now, this is just, if you haven't got any passata, you can use 2 tins of chopped tomatoes. This is just sort of kind of purified tomato juice. So we're going to put some passata in there, and then we're just going to turn up the heat. And then it's really important to add a little bit of seasoning. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a veggie stock cube, but we're going to crumble it onto the tomato. So we're going to crumble a veggie stock cube. So you can use an veggie oxo cube. You can get some veggie stuff which is in a tub. And just crumble that on. So this has got lots of salt and pepper in it. So crumble that into our thing. And then we're going to mix it all in. And mix our tomato in there. If it's a bit liquidy, so the passata I bought wasn't really cheap, I think it was about 30p. If you get the really cheap stuff, it's quite liquidy, you might need to add a little bit of tomato puree. And in terms of chopped tomatoes, sometimes they can be quite liquidy as well, so you might want to add a little bit of tomato puree just to thicken it up a little bit. Okay, so we're going to bring the heat right up so it starts to bubble. Okay, and now what you want to do is you're going to cook the tomatoes and all of your onions and your peppers in there, and you're going to cook that for about another 4 or 5 minutes. So you're just going to heat it through, and you're going to simmer it for 4 or 5 minutes. I'm just going to wash my hands. I was covered in stuff. Okay, so we're going to heat that through, get it up to the boil, and then you're going to turn it right down to simmer. Okay, and then you're going to leave that to cook for about 4 or 5 minutes before we add anything else. Okay. Now I could warble on for 4 or 5 minutes. I'm not going to, so what I'm going to do is I'll show you the next step. I'm going to use some corn mince. And if you want to do this with beef mince, it's a slightly different recipe, so I will put that one up as well. But we're going to use some corn mince. Now corn mince is quite cheap, and I think it's actually really tasty. So what we're going to do, that's heated for 4 or 5 minutes. We're then going to put our corn mince into our pan. It does look really strange. It looks like little kind of rocks. I think it's really tasty. It's really good for you as well. It's full of protein, but it does resemble kind of like stuff you might get out of a volcano. So then we're going to get all that into our sauce, mix it all in, and when that's covered, we're then going to add our red kidney beans. Okay, so we'll mix our corn in there, and it changes its texture when it's cooked. It changes its texture as well, so it tastes to me just the same as kind of cooked beef. It's much more healthy, and also you didn't actually have to kill a cow. Not like I'm vegetarian, but so I think it's a healthy option. And we've got our red kidney beans in there as well. And then we're going to mix it all in. So we've got our kidney beans in. Now I think there's a little bit of salt left in here, so I'm going to add the rest of that just to cover it. Okay, cover it up. Okay, now that's basically it made. That's our chilli, very, very simple. And what we're going to do then is we're going to put a lid on it. So this is the kind of blue Peter moment. We then put a lid on it. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn it right down, and we're going to leave that to cook, and the longer the better really. I think it needs to be cooked for about sort of 30-40 minutes, because then all the flavours of the chilli will come through, and that will be really super tasty. And I'm just going to turn it off from this one, and then this one that's on the pot, on the hob. Right. This is one that was being made earlier, and this one has been cooking for about 30 minutes. Okay, so the flavours in the chilli start to come through, the pepper's gone really soft, and also the tomatoes has a much kind of fuller flavour. Okay, so that's what it looks like after about 30 or 40 minutes, and that's ready to eat. Okay, now, what you can do is you can serve it. I'm going to serve it with some rice, or you can put it onto tortillas. You can put it on a baked potato. You can put it in those like little cup things that you can buy, which is quite tasty. I'm going to put it on some rice, and I've done a boil in the bag rice here, which hopefully is not going to burn me. So I'm going to put the rice onto here. I really love chilli. I love chilli that's really super hot. I haven't made this really hot, but I do like chilli that's really hot. So I'm about to burn myself. Open up the rice. Okay, so here goes the rice. So this is enough rice for just one person. There we go. Okay, so we've got our rice here. And I'm just going to spoon a little bit of chilli into my bowl. Now if you want to, you can put some coriander on the top, which is like a little way of finishing it. So I'm just going to spoon a bit of chilli on here. And the longer you cook your chilli, the more the flavour comes out of the chillies and all the spices. So there's a little bit of chilli on the top with the chilli beans. Now this was made earlier on. I did go a bit crazy with my own chilli pepper, so we'll see how this turns out, this one. That's yummy. So I'm not vegetarian, but I think this corn mince is really lovely. You've got your chilli beans in there, the onions are softened up, so you need to cook it for about 30 or 40 minutes, just simmer it. And if you wanted to add a little bit more, you could put a few chilli flakes on the top. Really simple, just leave the lid on, let it cook, and then you've got a meal, and that's enough for 4 people, and possibly a little bit left over. I've served mine with rice. You can put it with tortillas, or you can put it in wraps. I've got some wraps here, with a tiny little bit of salad with it as well. So lots of different variations, but that is vegetarian chilli, quite spicy, but really healthy, and you know exactly what's gone into it, so it's really good ingredients. Okay, hopefully you have fun cooking this. Here's the recipe that goes with it, very, very simple, and that takes 10 minutes to make and about 40 minutes to cook. Really delicious, and look forward to seeing some more pictures coming through.